Thanks for joining us on this Friday morning, folks. It is time to hunker down, batten down the hatches. We're expecting some pretty nasty weather headed into this afternoon. Larry's joining us with the latest.
A lot of excitement about this for some people. In fact, you know, the winter wonderland at the moment is this. We're going to take this view from up to Sugar Mountain.
Looks nice.
It looks very nice. They're going to see right there at Sugar Mountain, they could see 7 inches of new snow up there. A lot of people excited about this. We'll kind of pan the camera and show you just the snowy conditions up there in that area. So we are weather aware because we do have a winter storm warning. That's in effect all the way through tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for the entire area. So if you're watching this right now in the Carolinas, we do have that winter storm warning in effect, and that means a lot of different types of wintry weather. So major impacts south of here. I think a lot of the icy conditions would be down around Chester, Lancaster, and then you get up towards the I-40 corridor. That would just be mainly snow up there. Now the radar picture indicates where the precipitation is. You look at Atlanta, back over towards Huntsville, Alabama, up towards Nashville. That is all snow, but everything approaching the Carolinas, not even reaching the ground because it is a very, very dry air mass. Dew points are very low right now. It's going to take a while for the air to be saturated and that snow to finally hit the ground. Then it'll change over to some icy conditions as we head towards late this afternoon, especially as we get into the evening hours. But that, once again, snowfall all the way from Tennessee across into Georgia, Alabama, down to Mississippi and Louisiana. That's all some very heavy rainfall in those areas. It's interesting, the weather pattern across the southeast. Snow right now from Memphis up to Columbia to Nashville over to Little Rock in Arkansas. Current dew point temperatures in our area, dew points of only 7 degrees at Jefferson, 10 right now at Hickory, in Charlotte 12. Our air mass has to become completely saturated, which means the air temperature and the dew point have to come pretty close together. So we're talking about current temperature readings in the upper 20s. So it's going to take a while for the air mass to become saturated for all that to reach the ground. So futurecast, we take it about 12 noon. Everything starts to move towards the area. This is around 2 o'clock. Everything is back to the southwest. And then by 3 and 4 o'clock, we start to see the snow moving into the Charlotte area. It's going to take a while for it to actually hit the ground. So I would say between about 4 and 7, it's all snow here. Anywhere from, say, Rock Hill to Lancaster, Cheraw, and South Carolina. That's an icy mix. That's mainly some sleet and freezing rain. Also, Charlotte North. And then we take you to about 10 o'clock this evening. In Charlotte, most areas are going to see kind of a sleet and snow mix. South of here, it's all freezing rain. North, from Statesville to Salisbury, the mountains, it is all snow. The snow continues north along the I-40 corridor of the mountains for us. In our area, that pink area, that's that kind of icy mix, that sleet, freezing rain, and snow. And by about 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's gone and out of here. So the weather timeline for today, 3 p.m., snow starts to move into the area. And we get to about 7 o'clock, it's some sleet, freezing rain, and snow. Early tomorrow morning, precipitation starts moving away about 1 a.m., but whatever falls tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., that's going to stick on surfaces. That's going to be on streets. It's going to be at bridges, overpasses, power lines. If we get freezing rain, that is ice on those power lines, and that is not a good thing. That could cause major issues. So as far as hazardous travel conditions, I would say any time from probably about 8 p.m. this evening through middle of the morning tomorrow will be treacherous driving. Avoid driving if you can. What about your hometown? What's going to happen? Up around Hickory, 2 to 4 inches of snow there. About the same at Morganton and Lenore. 3 to 5 inches for Boone, Blowing Rock, and Banner Elk. And then the most snow really is going to be those ski slope areas, up to 4 to 7 inches, especially Sugar Mountain, Beach Mountain, and Grandfather Mountain, too. So here's that forecast. Weather aware today and tomorrow morning. There you go. I heard a little music. I thought it was the end of my part right there. No. I want to talk about the maddening part of forecasting this kind of weather and the issues that meteorologists can have because of the different computer models. So Chris is going to kind of check into that right now. Chris?
Yeah, here's the deal. Whenever you have the rain-snow line, you literally can have anything. I think you're going to see snow, freezing rain, sleet, and even rain for some sections of our area. But the snow in the mountains, that's guaranteed. It'll be just heavy at times. I think you can also include the foothills, mainly dealing with snow. But it's the Piedmont area south. It's that snow, sleet, and ice accumulations that Larry was mentioning. So let's talk about the maddening part of forecasting. Snowfall potential, well, it's showing anywhere from 0.4 to about 1.5 inches around Charlotte snowfall. That's pretty good. However, sometimes these snow models don't pick up on the sleet, which can rapidly bring things down. So breaking it down, what we actually know is the wintry weather arrives in the afternoon. Everything is agreeing on that. More ice mixes in by the evening. That's all in agreement. And precipitation ends really after midnight, before sunrise, really close to about that 2 to 4 a.m. But what the models are really having a difficult time with is when the precipitation is actually going to reach the ground here during the afternoon, how far north that ice line is going to get, and the ratio between that sleet and snow. So I want to show you the different models. This is the one that Larry showed. We agree on this one that by mid to late afternoon, snow starts to move in. By the time you get about that 6 to 9 o'clock hour, we're seeing an increase of the ice potential really south of the I-85 corridor, certainly down in our South Carolina counties. That expands through the evening, and then once you get to about 3 o'clock, hey, it's past and gone. Model number 2, this one's wacky. We don't like this one. This one's calling for rain, widespread through the middle of the afternoon, followed by ice, then to snow, then ice takes over the entire area, and then it starts to come down, and it lasts a little bit longer than the other models are saying. So we're discounting that one. So sometimes it's kind of do process of elimination. This one keeps the snow a little bit earlier in the day, coming back in action. Ice moves back in. But that 6 to 9 o'clock hour, everything's agreeing on that you are going to see a vast area of pink. At that point, you're either seeing ice pellets come down from the sky, you could have ice mixing in with snow, or straight freezing rain. Freezing rain is going to be the worst case scenario, and then heading into tomorrow morning, it doesn't matter what time it is, say 5 to 8 o'clock. The roads are still going to be slick, and it's not going to be a great drive. So really wait until the afternoon where crews can be out there, but then also the sunshine can soften up some of that ice. So Model 2, this is again one that Larry showed us. I think this is the one that's kind of nailing it. You're looking at the snow to start to move in really between about the mid to late afternoon. It's going to be fighting some of that dry air, and I'll get to that in a sec. But this ice situation down here in the northern part of South Carolina, edging up to that I-85 corridor, I think could be a solid concern. Larry showed you some of those values up to 1/4 of an inch. That is just absolutely crippling. And then once you get into the early morning hours, it's pretty much out of here. So even 1/10 of an inch of ice is going to glaze power lines. There could be a power issue if you get the winds to gust up. There's a lot of slick spots. You could even walk on the grass and slip if there's 1/10 of an inch of ice. I've done it before, honestly. And then you have 1/4 inch of ice. This is where things are problematic. Windshields are completely coated. You almost need a chisel to try to get that ice off, but it's an absolute dangerous drive. It's tough to stop, and it's at that point power lines can start to snap. Bringing up what Larry was mentioning, why is it too dry for that snow? We have mentioned Ben's favorite term, virga. Yes. Oftentimes, whenever it could be raining a mile above our head, but if you have the relative humidity that is between 50 to 60%, it's not going to reach you at the surface. So you notice 2 o'clock. Look at those values. Anything in that yellow color, I think if you look at your radar app, maybe WCNC, our app, and it's going to show that there's snow above our heads, but it might be just spitting or nothing at all. At this point, I think Cleveland County, the foothills, you are seeing snow actually reach the ground. It's really not until the late afternoon heading into the evening that green takes over. So that also makes this a more difficult forecast, that you're not necessarily going to see a lot of precipitation right away, but once it cracks that dry layer, it's going to rush in all at once, and that's why the evening is going to be the worst setup going forward.
Welcome to winter in the Carolinas.
Goodness.
Especially the Charlotte area.
Glad I don't have y'all's job.
Yeah. It's been a while, too.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, so when we're actively doing this, I-77 is shut down. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, the roads are dry right now, and look at the magnitude of that situation. So this evening, it's going to be better, I think, by Saturday morning, because a lot of people are going to be like, wow, I'm not driving out here. Yeah. But when people are rushing home, getting anything that they need to do, or say, hey, I'm going to go out anyways, don't drive this evening if you don't have to, because it's been 3 years since a lot of us have been used to driving in this weather, and then people who are used to it might be going faster, going slower. It's going to be primetime accidents. So
and tomorrow morning will be treacherous driving. I think tomorrow morning, early on, it's just going to be a sheet of ice across here. So if you can avoid traveling tomorrow morning, wait till later in the day. When the sun comes up, and it will during the afternoon, that'll help a little bit with the meltdown. But the temperatures are not going to be above about 40 degrees tomorrow.
Speaking of the roads real quickly, we do know that road crews typically use 2 different solutions. There's the brine solution, and there's just salt. But what's the difference between the 2 of them when it comes to making roads safer for all of us? WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies.
When you think about salt and brine, you may ask yourself what's the differences and why use one over the other to treat roads. So to get answers, we went to the North Carolina Department of Transportation. So first, let's take a look at brine. It's a solution of water and salt, and it is used to pre-treat roadways in dry conditions when temperatures are above 18 degrees. It's loaded onto holding tanks and sprayed on roads. So here's what it can do. It can prevents snow and ice from bonding with the road surface. It keeps snow from being compacted by traffic, and it is more effective and coats roadways better than just plain salt or sand. Meanwhile, sand is usually used after storms to help clear roads. Salt helps melt the remaining snow and ice. Crews usually use a mixture of salt and sand because sand helps break up the ice and adds extra traction for vehicles. With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And folks, by the way, if there's something you want us to verify, all you got to do is email us at verify@wcnc.com. Hey, a quick programming note. A lot of you have joined us at this time every morning, 7:30ish, for the last 4 or 5 years as we had WCNC Charlotte To Go. Well, it's an end of an era. While this streaming show is going to come to an end as of this morning, we're looking forward to a big new adventure coming up in the near term, where we're going to be digital on WCNC Plus from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. So you get less of us here, but you get a whole lot more of Larry Sprinkle over between
that's
7.
What people are looking for.
Really, between 7 and 9 a.m. So that's the thing. It's going to have all the news you expect and weather and traffic. Again, over at WCNC Plus. Starting real soon, 7 to 9 a.m. Just an extension of what we do every morning over on the broadcast as well.
So shout out. Joy,
yes.
Thank you for joining us so much.
All these years.
Melissa, John, you've been the big three that we've seen the most pop up here, and everyone else, we appreciate it.
At least the commenting people. Some people might have been watching a lot and don't always comment, but you guys have always been very...
We've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Many years.
Before the pandemic.
It had another name previously.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. All right, so we're going to end it here, but we hope to see you, of course, over on the broadcast coming up at 11:30 this morning, and then, of course, on WCNC Plus going into the future. Take care,
Have a safe
folks.
weekend.
Be
Bye,
safe.
y'all.